welcome to PitchPoint with me, Mary-Jannet Leith. Today we have a fantastic guest, Ensemble Hesperi's Baroque violinist Magdalena Loth-Hill. We're so lucky to have her on Ensemble Hesperi. Now, we met at the Royal College of Music, Magda, getting on for 10 years ago, which seems but yesterday. So you were at the Royal College for, in fact, a lot longer than I was.
Yes, I was there for a total of 7 years, which I can't quite believe. So I did 4 years of undergraduate, then 2 years of masters, and then I decided to stay for another year, which was an artist diploma, which I did alongside a junior fellowship. And the reason for that was that I was doing more and more Baroque playing, but I felt a little bit fraudulent that I hadn't really studied it in depth and I didn't really know what I was doing. So I did an extra year where I focused on Baroque violin.
Wow, yeah, no, I mean, it's very sensible because, of course, you know, growing up, I mean, I certainly didn't know that there were Baroque violins and Baroque cellos, etc. I just knew about violins. Yeah. So when did you start to realise that Baroque violin was a thing?
Well, quite later. I mean, I also didn't realise when I was growing up that that was an option. And it was really thanks to my modern violin teacher at the college, Itzhak Rashkowski, because he was a very curious teacher and he encouraged us to think about things and try different things. And he actually suggested that I go and try playing on a Baroque violin. And so it was really thanks to him, and I think that was maybe in my second or third year of undergraduate that I started. And I began as I think it was called a subsidiary study or I can't remember, related study.
Yeah, so you only did a tiny bit.
I think it was about 4 hours or 5 hours a year, which really is not very much.
No.
So I kind of got a taste for it, and actually at first I really didn't like it.
Oh really?
So, yeah, so I tried, maybe I didn't have a very nice instrument. I can't blame the instrument really. It felt so different and so alien and very uncomfortable. I couldn't get used to the tuning. I didn't like the feeling of the gut strings because, you know, we're used to shifting on nice smooth metal strings. And then with gut strings you really feel the texture of the string under the finger, and I didn't like that. And then the tuning, of course.
So how did you get over it?
I experimented. Yeah, I persisted. I experimented with lots of different kinds of strings. So I tried varnished strings, which are a bit smoother.
Okay.
And they last longer. They're a bit more durable. And with the tuning, it was just a case of playing a lot with colleagues, with friends, playing with harpsichord, just trying to get that sound into your ears. So I play obviously at Baroque pitch, A415 in this group, and then I also play in a string quartet which we play on period instruments, and we play at classical pitch, which, I mean, it's a compromise, but we play at 430, which is a very uncomfortable pitch.
That's very strange. So that's between 415, so that's a semitone below modern pitch at 440. So actually you're in between a semitone. That's really strange. That's going to feel, to anyone who had perfect pitch, you would just feel you would feel flat, just slightly flat all the time. It's really weird. So that's quite a big difference actually.
It is a big
and
difference.
to be able to switch from all three of those to each other, often in a short period of time, must be, you know, it takes incredible skill.
A lot of patience and practice.
And skill. So the differences between the sort of modern violin and the Baroque violin, you've mentioned different strings. So you've got gut strings instead of metal strings. And what's the sound difference between those two?
The sound difference to me is huge, mainly because of the strings. So with modern metal strings, especially on the violin, the E string is very bright and very present, whereas with gut strings the sound is much warmer, I find. Generally a bit quieter. I find it much easier for blend. For example, in our group, it's much easier to blend with gut strings. And I find there are many more colours available, which I find really interesting. That's one of the things that I slightly obsess over in my playing, is finding different colours. So gut strings are ideal for that.
Yeah, oh absolutely. And then of course you also have different options of setup, and of course the bow as well, which is really important.
Yeah, so even the bow is perhaps the main difference. So as you can see, obviously the shape is different, so it's much lighter than a modern bow because there's none of the metal mother of pearl that you usually find on a modern bow.
It's just nice and light.
Yeah, nice and light, perfect for dance movements, on those Baroque movements.
Yeah.
And generally the sound that you make when you draw the bow across the string is like the shape of the bow that you see. So you start the note, it blooms and it tapers off with this tapered.
Yeah, so it encourages a particular shape of note which you want.
Exactly.
Which must be really nice in a sense.
Yeah.
Although I suppose you have to learn how to control that.
You have to learn how to control it, and the sound production I find is very different. So the way of drawing the sound from the gut strings, you have to kind of sink a bit deeper into the string. When I go back to playing on metal strings now, I just think this is so easy, everything just works.
And you can just sort of use a bit more force, whereas you can't just use force with the gut string, it will not do anything, right?
You have to draw the sound. If you press too hard, you get this horrible... Well, you know from personal experience of playing with me that
this doesn't often happen.
Crack. It's not very nice.
It sometimes happens, but very, very rarely. So, Magda, now of course we're coming out of the pandemic. What does your career look like normally, and you know, in the next few months, hopefully getting back to?
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Normally, so this time last year or even longer ago, my career. Well, my kind of daily life was very varied, I would say. No 2 days are the same, which I really loved.
Yeah, it's great.
So I'm freelance, so I play with lots of different groups. I play with Ensemble Hespery, I play with my string quartet, the Consonne Quartet. I play in various orchestras and groups, and I teach a little bit as well. Not very much, but I do enjoy
We all teach a little bit.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to be able to teach, and you know, it's just one of those things that really is lovely to have as part of one's portfolio career.
Yeah.
Now, before we finish, I've got to ask, do you have a favourite Baroque violinist?
That's a really horrible question. There are so many amazing Baroque violinists, and so many people doing different things, which I love.
Yeah, that's true.
But if I had to choose one, it would be Andrew Manzi. I love his playing. I think it's so interesting, and the sounds and the colours he finds in the violin is so interesting. It's almost like the human voice when he plays. It can be so delicate and then so powerful. So yeah, Andrew Manzi.
I think he would also get my vote, to be honest. And you know, he has made so many recordings that you can listen to, often with Richard Egar, the amazing harpsichordist, and a really fantastic duo. So do go and have a look at those. Now today's music is going to be from Magda herself, not right now, but from a recording which she made for one of our bite-sized Baroque recitals a few weeks ago. Magda, what is your piece?
Well, the piece is a Teleman Fantasia for solo violin. It's number 10 in D major, and it's in 3 movements.
Thanks everyone for joining me today. Next time I'll be talking about May Day and the musical traditions that go along with it. I can hardly believe it's almost May already. See you then.